Irvingman, watch his show sitting on his can. Tells a story, tells a joke, monetizes cause he's broke. Look out, here comes the Irvingman.
The year is 1968. The past few years in music have seen what came to be called the British invasion. From the moment the Beatles stepped off the plane in 1964, the country had gone all in for this new kind of music. Predictably, the establishment folks didn't like it. And since this was culturally relevant, every freaking TV show had to say something about it. This show is no exception.
Cyrus Flintridge III presents the Squawkers, a variation in pop music. Old Flintridge may be eccentric, but he's a real swinger. I gotta see Jameson's reaction to this private preview.
Remember, Peter is your average teenager who just happens to be a scientific genius. And J. Jonah Jameson is neither of those things.
Groovy, man. Groovy. Right, Jameson?
Great. Just great.
He's also not digging the beat. I've talked about the word groovy before, but in case there are those who missed it, here's the short version. We're referencing a phonograph record. To make the record play, you had to be sure the needle was in the groove on the record. Jazz musicians picked up that phrase and started using it. When the combo was really clicking and everything was coming together, you were in the groove. It meant things are going smoothly, and most important, the listeners are digging it. Languages get sloppier the longer they exist because people talk lazy. Around the 50s, the phrase in the groove expanded to mean anything really cool or noteworthy. The generation of the 60s slopified that and shortened it to groovy. I confess in my youthful foolishness, even I used the word a few times, but I repented of that a long time ago. Today, it only exists as a caricature of the 60s, but it did mean something to us. I think Jonah would like to be in a groove someplace where he couldn't hear this.
What's going on here?
I thought it was part of the show.
That was no ordinary sonic blast. It was aimed. And here comes another one.
I've heard lots of violins played badly, and sometimes it feels like that. But this guy really needs to take up the tuba. Spiderman goes looking for whoever is doing this.
So, Spiderman sinks to find the source of my sonic beams. Well, I'll give him a clue.
Here we go again.
An agile adversary. But now, I play for real.
If you weren't playing for real, what were you doing?
Here comes a whopper.
He crawls around avoiding the little ones and sits still for the big one. Nothing but the best for Spider-Man. Even when you're smacking him in the face, he won't accept a halfway job.
That should take care of Spider-Man.
I'm positive it came from here. Empty. Not a scrap of paper. Beethoven's Fifth? From Bop to Beethoven. There's got to be a connection.
Yes, there is. When you add Brahms to the list, they're known as the 3 Bs. I'm sure that's going to help you find the bad guy. Wait, bad guy makes 4 Bs.
Flintridge. He's responsible for this abominable rock and roll boom.
Not really. If you have to point fingers at one person, the most likely candidate would be Ed Sullivan. But all he did was start booking the acts. If this guy wants to know who really caused the boom, it was us, the young people. We had cut our teeth listening to 50s rock, but we were restless. The country was changing, a president had just been murdered, and we were ready for something new that we could sink our teeth into. You can blame the promoters all you want, but they just responded to the public. If they had known there wasn't an audience, they wouldn't have booked the acts. There was and they did, but our man thinks it's all the fault of the promoters, And he's perfectly willing to hurt uninvolved people to prove it.
If his money can buy the ears of the public, then I shall even the fight. He will pay me dearly, and I will build a conservatory and restore the true beauty of classical music to the world.
Dude, classical music was doing just fine and still is. I love classical music, and Mozart is one of my personal heroes. I also love Def Leppard, Johnny Rivers, and I just bought tickets to Chicago. I can tell you all about how Mendelssohn had so much fun writing music he literally worked himself to an early grave. I can also tell you more than you ever wanted to know about the Dave Clark Five. Rock music was never a threat to classical music. Plus, my man, that's not classical music you're listening to. It's big band. Sounds like Tommy Dorsey, but don't hold me to that. So your musical tastes extend beyond the purely classical too. Let's not get snobby about it.
This fiend has gone too far. Not only does he admit causing the sonic blasts, now he's blackmailing me. He wants me to leave $100,000 in a violin case at the foot of Beethoven's statue.
If you call the police, I will dispose of them as easily as I disposed of your so-called instruments last night.
I refuse to pay 1 penny to that sonic swindler.
Jonah says, hold on, I think I know a way to trap this guy. He tells Betty to find Parker. That guy gets pictures that nobody else could, so if we can have him hiding nearby, he can get a picture of the thief.
What is this?
A violin case. Gone. When that block-busting blackmailer finds out the case is empty, he'll be after Flintridge, and Spiderman better get there first.
And he will, but only by seconds. We won't see how the Fiddler travels, but I'm guessing he rides some sonic current through the air. If he was driving there in New York, he wouldn't arrive until day after tomorrow.
Everything seems okay, but my spider senses are signaling danger.
This time I will play a concerto that double-crossing Flintridge will never forget.
I feel it, a sonic wave.
My hi-fi! No, stop! My record! Stop!
He thinks he'll get rid of rock music by destroying Flintridge's record collection. The guy is independently wealthy. He'll go buy more. He's upset because of the inconvenience. Spiderman is tracking the Fiddler.
Right on cue. Here somewhere. I can feel it. Unless he can fly, I've got him trapped.
There you go. You've got him right where you want him.
Terrible, terrible. But at least he didn't get the money.
That's right. So now he's upped his demands to $500,000 so he can build a conservatory of his own.
Did you say 5?
If I don't bring it in person to my conservatory tonight, he threatens to reduce it to rubble.
$500,000 was a lot of money in 1968, but it wasn't enough to build an entire conservatory. The Fiddler knew that, but he didn't want to build an entire conservatory. He wanted to build it big enough for one so he could entertain himself as much as he liked.
Parker, you got the pictures?
Well, yes and no.
Why can't you teenagers ever give a straight answer? Did you get a picture of the blackmailer?
Yes, but
But what?
the Fiddler blasted the camera right out of my hand.
Or to put it another way, may I have an advance to buy a new camera?
Fiddler? That's right, Mr. Flintridge. A fiddler with a deadly sonic violin.
I like how they're calling him a fiddler and not a violinist. A fiddle is a violin, but the difference is in how you play it and what you play. Fiddle music is a distinct genre. I played guitar for a fiddler for a while and watched him teach several other people to play. A concert violinist wouldn't be able to handle it. That's probably why this guy plays so badly it breaks stuff.
If I were you, I'd be at the conservatory tonight with the money.
Thanks, JJ. That's just what I'd hoped you'd say.
That's what Flintridge is doing, but he didn't see this coming.
Just your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
You're the Fiddler?
Hand me the satchel, Flintridge, and then get lost, or you may wind up playing a harp.
Jameson was right. You are a crook. Well, you won't get away with this.
That's the beauty of it. He doesn't intend to.
He's left the satchel inside as I instructed. If he tricked me again, I'll keep my promise.
Flintridge is bound to go for the police. If I can just stall that vindictive virtuoso.
Putting him in a webbing straitjacket could accomplish that. Whatever you're going to do, get ready, because here he comes. No. No. There he is.
Hold it, Fiddler. There's a string attached.
Let that be a lesson to you, Peter. Go home and make faster webbing.
Why don't you give up and save yourself?
I can't hear you, Fiddler. Over those sirens.
You can't do this to me!
I believe he just did. Why do they always say that? He also says, "Let me go." I'm sure Spider-Man is going to blink and say, "Oh, right, here you go."
Where's Spider-Man?
He's been here. There's his calling card. The villainous violinist captured by your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
By George, that Parker boy was right. He is a fiddler. Name's Otto. Used to play second fiddle with the symphony orchestra.
Second fiddle explains a lot.
How would you know about good music? You and your rock and roll rabble.
My dear fellow, I also sponsor the symphony orchestra.
I love to play rock music. I love to play Christian music. I love to play classical music. I can get into some country and even some rap. Music is music, and there's no one right way to define it. He wanted to restore classical music. Music historians will tell you the classical period extended from 1750 to 1827. Before that was the Baroque period. After that was the Romantic period. I'm not sure what they've decided to call 20th century music. It's characterized by stuff like this. This is why I'm careful when I talk about the music I like or don't like. I'm more inclined to talk about individual pieces of music, whether a song or a piano sonata. The same guy who wrote that, whatever, wrote a symphony that I absolutely love. So if you were to ask me if I like Charles Ives, I'd answer, it depends. Please don't ever do that again. He was changing. Okay, yeah, don't lose the line. The promoter's all you want, but don't screw up the line. But he didn't. So you're, yeah.